Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you a quick overview and a quick introduction to using shape keys in Blender 2.9. This still sounds interesting, guys. Let's not waste any time. Let's hop into the video. Alright, first things first, I have two objects here, the basic cube and sphere. Alright. So I'm going to be using these two shapes to demonstrate the basics of shape keys. I'm not going to be going into anything too complex. That's why I chose these basic shapes that you can just hit Shift A and add them right in. Let's go ahead and start with the cube. Let's isolate this guy. Let's tab into edit mode. First things first, a shape key cannot be added in edit mode. Just wanted to make that clear. Alright, let's tab back out. Now Okay, I forgot to mention the location of the shape keys. Let's go over that. So you want to come over to this section, and where you have this triangle here, you click it and it will bring you here. Do not confuse a shape key for Vertex Group. Shape key is the second one. Alright, so shape keys, let's go ahead and add one. Now this is the basis, as it is already named. The basis now cannot be altered. This is the natural state of the object. So a cube will remain a cube in the base form, and this base was what the rest of the shape keys will move in relation to. This will make more sense as we go on. Now we hit this plus again and it adds key 1, a new shape key. Alright, you can rename this shape key by double clicking and just naming it. Alright, now if you tab into edit mode, you can change the position of vertices and points in here. So let's move this up. Now when you tab out, you notice that it goes back to the basis, back to the basic shape. Alright, now let's go over each of these things here. First things first is the value. Alright, the value now determines how much or how close to the point we established in edit mode the shape key should get to. So 0 is the basis, up to 1 is the point, 0.5 halfway, you get the idea. Now the range, minimum and maximum. The minimum range, if we set it to lower than 0, this would invert what we already have and go back down and go the opposite direction. So we have a shape key going up, and if we set the minimum to something lower than 0, which is the basis, it will invert that and we have something going down, you see. So if we set this at 0, this is it. But when we have a value lower than 0 as our minimum, we can go lower than that. Alright, another quick guide, this X right here just makes like it clears out all the values for the shape keys. Maximum is the same thing. If we increase the maximum, it where at that point we have 1, it will go higher. All right, I made a mistake there. All right, it will go higher. So the maximum is from that point up, like just as the minimum is, the maximum goes up. All right, let's clear out everything. I'll make this 1, make this 0. Okay, Vertex Group. Most often you won't be using this. That's where Vertex Groups come into play. But this will determine the parts of the mesh if you want to specify what parts of the mesh should be using it. Now, relative to this is where the basis comes in. So we have where are we starting from? That's what relative to means. Where are we starting from? We're starting from the basis here, so this is basis. If we add another shape key, apologies, if we add another shape key and we tab in and we move this out like this, all right, if we change relative to up, you see that it goes in relation with up. I don't know if this makes sense. It's a bit confusing, but that's what it basically is. Anywho, it won't matter much, but most often than not, you will have to use basis. So don't bother too much if you don't understand this point. But basis on the normal, on a regular basis, you want it to be on basis, alright? So that from this point we have this. Okay. Okay. Now let me just make it clear what how it looks in different stages. So this first part now with basis selected, let's move it up. Now let's change this to up. You see it comes down because it's starting from where up is. Like the basis is up, so we're moving it in the opposite direction of up. All right. Just want to try to make this as clear as possible. But let's delete that key. That's basically everything. Now let's go ahead and move on to the sphere. Right now, with a more complex shape, your shape key would differ. Right. So with the new shape key, let's select some points on the sphere. Just random points. I know I say random, but I want that particular one. Okay. All right. Let's just scale these out. Okay, so you see spikes. So shape keys can be really helpful for animation. You could just, in case you have a basic shape and you can't afford to start rigging it and going ahead and adding bones and constraints to get all these effects, shape keys are very simple. You just hit I in this space or click this dot here and it becomes an animated property. All right. Now, one thing that might be a problem when working with shape keys is if you select this whole thing and you rotate it this way. Many people will think that those spikes now would come up and rotate itself, but Blender would have a difficult time calculating that. So all Blender does is get you from the point you started to what you put at the end. No in betweens for this. So let's go ahead and move this up to 1 slowly and see what happens. You see the ball doesn't rotate on its own. The whole form changes. Alright, so it's not a rotating. Okay, this is a cool effect. But not my point. My point is that it did not do what we expected it, because we expected spikes, then a rotation, or a rotation with the spikes coming out. But rotations here don't really work because we're trying to go from one point to another without telling Blender what is in between. Right? So these are some things you have to keep in mind when working with shape keys. They're really helpful, really simple to use. That is basically it. Just like that, you have a basic understanding of shape keys in less than 10 minutes. No 1 hour classes to learn this, guys. Right? So if you like this video, do well to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. Drop a comment if you have any thoughts, if you have some workarounds for some problems I mentioned about shape keys, or if you have something else that I've left out in the tutorial that you know, do well to share it down there so others can see it and I can see it as well and learn some more. We are all learning. That is basically it, guys. Have a nice one. Subscribe. Remember to subscribe. Check out my other videos. Have a nice day.